I want to begin by telling you a small story about my very early days as a law student. So I interviewed at a firm in Chicago, a very big, prominent, well-known firm. And I went out to lunch with some of the young associates, as is the norm in these interview situations. And I was so impressed with the woman who was just a few years older than I, graduated from law school just a few years before I did. She was able to get a cab at the very busiest time, lunchtime in Chicago. She put her fingers in her mouth and whistled. I, unfortunately, did not get that gift. So I just have to ask for your attention. I regret every single day that I never learned how to do that. So perhaps something I can make as a goal for the coming year. It is the time of New Year's resolutions. I want to thank all of you for helping make one of our resolutions come true by being here today for the very first step for our collective step, very public step, of our journey to advance international efforts at Case Western Reserve University. Actually, the groundwork has been laid for this day by the efforts of many people. More about that in a moment. We really started in 2008 with the strategic plan that we created during my first year here. We identified this as a very important priority for the university. The following year, in May of 2009, we appointed David Fleshler as our first ever Associate Provost for International Affairs. Ironically, the selection process for David itself marked an opportunity to enhance awareness of international efforts on our campus, because it was during the interview process that some of the participants, including deans, first learned about international programs going on at other schools. So part of it is about coordination and communication. Since David got here in May, he's done an outstanding job of reaching out to all the parts of our Case Western Reserve community and encouraging more conversations among all of our community players here. Your turnout today underscores the great interest that we know exists on our campus. Our task going forward is to make sure that we capitalize on that enthusiasm and enhance coordination and collaboration among our many global initiatives. So here today to help us with this effort is Dr. Barbara Hill. She is a senior associate with the American Council on Education and its Center for International Initiatives. Barbara is one of the leading minds regarding internationalization in higher education. She is previously a provost from Denison University, many of you will know it, in Granville, Ohio, and also previously served as president of Sweetbriar College in Virginia. So she's been in many different roles that we know well. She and her colleagues at the Center for International Initiatives have worked with literally dozens of universities and colleges on internationalization plans and assessments. And we now have the opportunity to benefit from all the wisdom that she and her team have gained to apply the lessons they have learned, and without having to start from scratch to build our own model. We can use some of the best practices from our colleagues other places. Now, I hope it will come as little surprise to all of you who are here today who deem this sufficiently important to invest your time in this, that one of the most important determinants of success in internationalization efforts is the degree of engagement across the campus. As wonderful as David is, and he is wonderful, he is only one person. He cannot succeed in these efforts if he's working all by himself. So Case Western Reserve will become more global only because of the academic value we offer and all of the things we're able to do together. And that value stems from our faculty and our staff and our students. It is the intellect of our faculty, their dedication, their passion for stretching beyond domestic boundaries that is going to help make the difference. Our great staff who engage in lots of international outreach efforts as well, and our students who are interested in being a part of this, and some of them are here today, so we're glad to have all of you involved. We also, by the way, have alumni who are deeply interested in this effort, and David and I have been meeting with some of them, and it's been so far a very productive effort. They have advice to offer, and they are very interested in our success. Now, I urge you today to listen carefully to David, to Dr. Hill, and of course to each other. I hope you'll ask questions, challenge assumptions, and recognize that this is the beginning of a process that you have the opportunity to shape. This is, in essence, the beginning of creating a strategic plan for our internationalization efforts. I know that many of you, when you hear that, think, oh, those are just things that sit on the shelf. But I hope you don't think that today, because I think we've made tremendous progress in implementing the university-wide strategic plan already. The provost announced the investments in the alliance initiatives already. We have an associate provost for international affairs. We have hired Marilyn Mobley, our new vice president for inclusion, diversity, and equal opportunity. So we are making progress on some of the important initiatives identified in our strategic plan. It is not sitting on the shelf. It is informing our investments of time and money, and we hope the same will be true of our international efforts. And so it will be important to create a very vibrant plan that will allow us to move forward. It is now my great pleasure to turn things over to David, who will review the day's activities.